Me and my husband live in a community inside of Kintyre, Jamaica. When we were early into our marriage, we had a few problems. None with love, always about money. We both were hardworking people, both working really long hours. My husband worked from home as a handyman, and he also made things that people around the community might need. I sold fruit a few miles down from our house, and I usually worked from about 7 in the morning till about 11 at night. So, when the island had a dry spurt, you can imagine how me and my family were in a panic. I couldn't work, and I couldn't make any money to help my husband. I agreed to leave for the season just until the rain came again so I could find work in order to help my family. Separating from my husband was hard, especially for the fact that we just had a newborn daughter. I traveled all the way to Rockfort, a community inside of Kingston. Shortly after arriving, I found a few old friends who helped me find work. I found this respectable farm owner and butcher. She raised goats, cows, and pigs, and I would work for her doing the same thing. So we became friends. We both had a lot of respect for each other. I liked the fact that she was steady and honest, and she admired me for being so dedicated to my family and also really good at my job. I trusted her so much that I gave her all my money to hold on to since I had no safe place to store it. The day came as I prepared to return home to Kintyre, and the farmer laid down all my wages on the table and said, "Do you want the money, or would you like 3 advices in its place?" I simply said, "The advice." I admired her, and her advice had never steered me wrong before. She took back the money she just laid out and said the following: 1. When you are going home, keep on the highway and take no byway. 2. Lodge not in any house in which you see an old man and his young wife. And 3. Do nothing rashly until you have well considered what you will do. Besides these 3 advices, she gave me some money to get home and also gave me a loaf which I was not to break until I could eat it with my family. After traveling for a few miles, I ran into another old friend heading in the same direction. We traveled together. After a few more miles, he said he knew a shortcut that involved going the local way home. I thought of the farmer's advice and I decided against it. My friend agreed to take the local way and meet back up with me. When we met back up, he told me that he was robbed on the local way home, and I was thankful that I listened to the farmer's advice. My friend was wounded when he was robbed, so we decided to find a place so we could sleep overnight. But when we found the place, we saw an old man and a young wife, so I decided not to stay there because I remembered the farmer's second advice. Besides their age difference, the couple seemed odd, and I had a bad feeling. My friend decided to stay while I stayed at a place just next door. The next morning, a man with dreadlocks came and told me of the old man's murder. His young wife killed him for his money, but the police assumed it was my friend who slept there since he was a visitor. He was sentenced to be butchered. He was butchered in front of all of us, but I couldn't watch it for long. I packed my things and I got out of there as soon as I could, and I just continued on my journey home. I arrived at home around midnight. I knocked, and a young woman came to the door. I became enraged. I dedicate myself to my husband, and I have to leave my child, and he repays me by having an affair. I tried to remain calm, remembering the farmer's advice. I asked the woman, "Who are you?" She responded, "It's me, Mom." I was so relieved, and I was glad I didn't react to my initial thought. My husband came to the door, and we all hugged, and I told them of my experience. We sat down at the table to cut the bread, and the bread was all of my money. Now, not only did we have newfound wisdom to pass down, but money to live comfortably.